Hey there. So this is a little Pam Perry's Picks, right? Pam Perry's Picks and a whole lot of other positively going on because I'm so excited today because I've got an author who is also a role model of mine. I just love her. And she was also the cover of Speakers Magazine and has an event coming up this weekend. Positively Powerful Women Awards and Gala and Summit. And it's just like all things positive. But her book was on Amazon many years ago. And this is where we're going to be talking about today. The whole brand behind, I think it's like over a decade now, of Positive Powerful Women Awards really came out of the fact of this book and why she did this book, how to be a positively powerful person. And so I'm Pam Perry, and I am bringing you Amazon Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, all the things. And then also, too, we're going to be talking about another P in here. About how about that? Pioneering African American women in the advertising business. So, with that, I'm going to bring up Dr. Joelle. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for bringing me on again.
Oh my
I
God.
really appreciate it. I love it.
Well, we didn't talk about this book before, and this is a book
No.
that is really it's taught at Eastern Michigan University. It was written
Mhm.
by Dr. Judy Foster Davis, who I went to high school with. And I remember when
I
she
didn't
was
know
doing
that.
yes, yes. So I remember when she was telling me about this book that she wanted to do is I think it was part of her dissertation or something like that.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm trying to get in touch with Dr. JP. She says, I'm trying to get in touch with JP Martin. I said, Dr. Joelle.
Right.
I mean, like we got like a pivot. So we'll talk about that. I said, Dr. Joelle Martin. I said, yeah,
Mhm.
she does a lot of training. She's actually like the lead trainer with George Fraser on
Mhm.
Power Network. I said, I can get in touch with her. And that's how she popped in. That's how you guys got
Oh, I love it. That's so
yes.
great. Wow,
Oh,
great connections.
oh my God. So this particular one it's sold on Amazon. You have your book too. Let me see yours. Yours is a little
Yes.
different cover. See
This
yours?
one, I believe, can you see it
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
This one was when she just finished her dissertation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I
And
got this lovely note from her. It looks a little different from yours.
yes.
Yeah.
I think mine is maybe the I guess you would say the consumer version, and then yours is the
Okay.
academic. That's what I'm thinking. Yours is probably more the academic, and mine's is the consumer version. But let me
Mhm.
tell you, when I was reading this, this obviously both of these. This one is the one that you did as well. But when I was
Yes.
reading this, I was like, you did so much early on, and you were led. Yeah, I think you were just led by God, and so your chapter is really talking about the transformative artists.
Mhm.
Right? And it's funny
Mhm.
to be an artist, right? So one of the things that you talk about, and you really go through talk about the early years in pursuit of
Mhm.
happiness, and then you was the art director. A lot of people probably don't know that.
Right, yeah.
And then
Right.
the J.P. Martin Associates advertising agency in New York City.
Mhm.
I will say that you went to the Ohio State
I went
University.
to Ohio State, yes.
University, right? That was a whole rebrand thing they had to do on that, right? Uh, and then really some of the clients that people may not know, um,
Mhm.
working with Carnation, Revlon.
Mhm.
You worked with
No, we didn't have Revlon, we had Clairol.
Clairol. Okay, so we've got to
Yeah,
make sure that to get that straight.
right,
There's
branding
the
and all.
National Bankers Association, National Black
Mhm,
Network,
mhm.
Anheuser-Busch, America Savings and Loan League. I mean, there's just a lot of them ones that are listed here that Judy put in. And then also too, you work with NAMAD, National Association of Market Developers.
Oh, yeah, I was their, chair at one point, and
Oh
the
my God.
president of New York City, president of NAMD New York City.
That is huge. That people don't realize how huge that was. I remember being Rick Bates, I believe, was one of the ones that told me about NAMAD. It was out of
Mhm,
Chicago and it was really big. And I was in Detroit and we were just kind of get a NAMAD chapter started. And I think
right.
that may have been the time one of their conferences, maybe I saw you. I think I probably was too afraid to say anything, but I remember that and what
Little
that
did I
was.
know.
Yeah, the market developers was that it was trying to tell the general market that there is an African American market that needs to be heard, seen, paid attention to, uh, just market development. Like it's an $800 billion market. So the National Association of Market Developers really talked to companies to say that our dollars were worthy, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, don't ignore us. And you were
Mhm,
the one that
mhm.
paved the way for that. And I don't know if people can see this or not, but this is one of your
Oh,
ads.
the grandma ad, yeah.
Oh my God. I love that. That was just one of the
Mhm.
things that you did, like in your other life, right? Uh,
Yeah, in my
but this
other life. But you know what is so fun,
in this
Pam, is that my other life stays with me because in diversity, equity, and inclusion, it deals with optics.
yes. And this was one of the ones too. Joelle
Mhm.
Martin had a dream. It's Anheuser Busch's dream too. And it's looked at you in your suit and suited up and booted up in
Right.
your office.
Put it out. Hadn't changed too much.
Oh my God. No, no, no. You like I told you earlier, I said, I think you're aging backwards here. And then the creative activism. And that's one of the things
Mm.
that we talked about too, where, a series of ads for BOCA, which is really the consortium of Black
Oh,
communities.
yeah, that was powerful. It was so great to work with them, and Terry Williams and I, worked with all those leaders.
Oh my
Yes, it's sort of
God.
like history for me. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we paid our dues and we got it such that, I don't think people realize that the things we take for granted now weren't always in place.
Oh, yeah, this right here, the little boy just seeing a
Mhm.
reflection of like, okay, so what is really going on here? What's wrong with this picture? And that was one of the
Right.
ones that you and Terry worked on in terms of changing the images of African Americans in
Yeah.
media. And then it talks about the Phoenix Rises. So let's talk about that in terms of what happened from leaving really so much like the advertising world and then go into the
Oh,
Phoenix.
boy.
Like, the advertising world, that's really what I'm talking about, like, so this one
Yeah.
here so tell us really why you did this book, what was going on in your
Oh,
world
yeah.
when this
At that
happened?
time, a dear friend of mine, Denise Young, who worked at the agency then, introduced me to this training program, and it was a transformational leadership program. And I, being this girl from Toledo, Ohio, even though I was born in New York, I didn't know a lot about transformational leadership or transformation in general. So I had faith in her, and my husband went through this training. I did too. And I discovered, Pam, a way for me to reach people in a way I couldn't do through the media. And that was one on one. And uh, I was so empowered and inspired by the whole concept that you could actually not change your identity, but you could change your mindset from looking in the past at your
Mhm.
history and what wasn't working in your life to, oh my gosh, to what you wanted and then go about creating that.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
That was so powerful. And I remember, my husband, Bob, he would keep saying, so when are you going to be a trainer? I said, no, you know,
Like, I've been an art
sometimes,
director my whole life, right? Like, what is that? Yeah.
yeah, I was running a company. We were doing millions and stuff in billing. And the idea of letting that go eventually got in my way. And we closed down the agency, and I started from zero because I was a rookie, to be a trainer, a transformational leadership developer, coach, consultant, etc. And I was traveling all around the world doing this work. And I decided I wanted to create a way that people could, for the cost of a book, start their own journey of transformation and changing their lives and their businesses for the better, hence the book, How to Be a Positively Powerful Person. And I crammed as much as I could in there in the book that people could use, to make their own way.
Yeah, because it's
make their own way. There was a workbook in there, and I wanted people to be able to get in an quasi unexpected way, because I knew how much the training costs. I knew how much it costs to hire me or to have a team, internationally. So that's why I wrote the book, because of my own personal experience and my commitment to give to others.
Oh my God, this is good. So the forward here is written by a person that we both know.
Yes.
Dr. George Fraser. And of course, he's going to put in his spin in here, because that's how we kind of all get connected. In the beginning, talks about his diagram based on the George Fraser about connecting the dots, right?
Yes.
And years before he did that whole click and connecting I mean, that's just what he's known for, but he put it in your book. And how did you meet, by the way? How did you all meet?
NAMD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was speaking at an NAMD conference, and I don't know where I was in the organization. And I remember there was a newspaper article about George, and then it was a newspaper article about me. He included me in there, and George got in touch with me then, and he said, I want you to do something for me. I said, yes, George, I want you to be our director of training for the conference.
Oh my God. That is
yeah. And I said, yeah. I mean, having an opportunity to take what I was committed to in my agency, in my book, and doing it with a great leader like George, and infinite trust, infinite brilliance, how could I say no? So I didn't.
And how long has it been?
Oh my gosh, since the beginning of the Power Networking Conference.
So that's over 30
years. And then we shifted direction and became more of a vehicle for books and marketing and so on and so forth. And I was there at the beginning for him too. So that's how I met George, through NAMD.
And you have a whole part in here talking about partnership, which is obviously which is one of the reasons how you and George really have an alignment. And you talk a lot about attitudes and things like that.
That's it, for real. Yeah. I have 10 power tools in that book. And even though the book, I think the book, I can't even imagine when I wrote it, but I knew I was still doing that global training. Those things still work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They still work. The power of making a choice, the power of freedom, the power of following your dream and acting on that versus the history that you have. Those are still good things.
Oh my God. This is what they call a classic. It's like very similar to people always talking about the book Think and Grow Rich, Dr. Kimball's book, A Black Choice. And people, even though that was written, it just was the first edition of this, the paperback was in 2003. Then the second pack was in 2004, and the third was 2005. And I have the large print. As I get older, I said I'm gonna need the large print. That was in 2007. So that's the one that I have, right? But you quote the prophet Kahlil Gibran, the poet.
One thing I will share, I'm very much about inclusion. And I wanted to have passages in there that people could read and learn from, as well as be inspired by. So Kahlil Gibran, the Buddha, Christian faith, a lot of that thing. That's why I call it the large print spiritual version.
Yeah. And the whole thing too, the values communication checklist. Do you write things down whenever appropriate? Do you listen attentively? when others are speaking? Do you communicate clear, measurable results you are looking for and including dates and times when applicable? Do you
Mm.
ask questions to determine the exact dates and then elicit feedback, including things you might not like to hear? It's like one of those books where it's a workbook. It's also telling
Mhm.
a little bit about your story as well. So the place where you were, I was reading it from this particular book, that there was a period of
Okay.
time where you had fallen ill.
Oh
And
yeah,
one
I had breast cancer.
Yes, and this breast
Mhm.
cancer awareness month. And so you had fallen ill, and one of the things that that at least from this book, it kind of inferred that one of the things that kind of saved your life, besides obviously the medicine, was your positively powerful attitude. So talk a little bit
Absolutely.
about that.
Oh yeah, because anyone who's going through any great trauma, illness, or life situation, there's a series of decisions that lead you to your ultimate path. I guess
Mhm,
I can call that because it's never over. Transformation is a journey, not a destination.
mhm,
So I would have visits with my doctor, and I'd be thinking, okay, of the choices that I have available, what's the choice that I can take that means the most to me? I said, okay, then I'll choose that. And then the next one, if the choices that I have available, what am I going to do now? Or what's the support I ask for now? So
mhm.
life is a series of decisions and choices, and that's how I live.
Right.
You know, so for sure that was a tough time, and I had one recently with another virus infection.
Mhm.
Same thing,
Making
instead
those
of
positive choices.
exactly making
Mhm.
those decisions, making those choices to get where you want to go. Yeah.
And one of the things I like about you, Dr. Joel, is that you have
Mhm.
always been consistent. You have always been about excellence, been about your family. Your
Mhm.
hubby is an artist. Your daughter is also in the arts as well. And you decided, out of all the things and the busy things that you're doing, to do this awards program and this summit. So tell us how that started. And then
Oh,
it's just grown because it's coming up soon. So it
it
happens every
is.
year. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, being a servant leader and
Mhm.
seeing a problem and asking myself, well, how can I fix that problem? That's like Boca, that's like my ad agency, my client work. I was going to speak to, because I love speaking to groups. I love that. And I was
Mhm.
speaking to a group of women, and
Super.
these women, and yes, these were women here in Arizona that were judges on our tribal nations. They were mothers, but they were legal women. I was invited to speak by an attorney. And, you know, I looked at these women and I said, how many of you give to yourself the way you give to others? And it
Mm.
was just a question that struck my heart because I said, this is not right. The way these women give and the way they pour into our communities, they deserve to be lifted up and honored and made queens. And, truthfully, I think all of us do, men, women, children, GLBTQ folk, all of us deserve that. But at that point in my time, I say, what can I do to be of service to these women so they understand how much they are appreciated? Because
Mm.
girl, sometimes we be giving, 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 and we're not receiving, 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 receiving.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
some of us are afraid to receive, So I wanted to bust that up. And I took the 2-word positively powerful from my book, and I
Mm.
had the Positively Powerful Women Awards. Now, I will
Oh,
give you a quick tip here.
okay.
I'm getting ready to come out with a positive, how to be a positively powerful woman.
Ah,
I'm working on that one.
that is that's about time. That's kinda like in the
Mhm,
words of
mhm.
Lizzo without the bad word. It's about time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how the event came to be because I wanted to have women feel like queens. I
Mhm,
wanted to appreciate them, and my mission is to acknowledge the accomplishments of women in
mhm,
ways that empower all of us to live
mhm.
our dreams and change lives and businesses for the better. So, you know, that's still what I'm doing, Pam.
And it combines everything because it's diverse women. It's not just Black women and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. So it's
Yeah.
in line with the cover of, if people are wondering what I'm holding, September 22nd, that's September
Mhm.
2022. Speakers Magazine. You could go online and read this free, download it, but you'll read the story about how she is a DEI and belonging, DEI and B
Yeah.
expert as well, and really just talks a little bit about the gathering and then some of the great sponsors that she's had for this event,
Yeah.
because this has been going on for a while. This is, I think, the
13 years.
13th
13
year,
years.
13th year,
Mhm.
and it's happening this weekend, that I'll be going to, and I'll be glad to see you,
Yay.
actually hug you, and I'm so glad to be out, and Linda Clemens will be there as well. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot. She's a keynote speaker again as well for this event, but a lot of it is that it's the transformational program, as well. It's at Arizona State University, diversity, equity, and inclusion, STEAM, sustainability, resilience, entrepreneur, business success, and the awards program. So the
Yes.
awards program is a part of that, what you really try to do and honor
Yeah.
and give back to women who do so much. And
Mhm.
over 13 years, you have not run out of women to honor.
Impossible.
Right?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I keep think I'm like a friend of mine who has a great awards event as well for senior citizens folk. And we always go through this. Should, girl, I don't know. Should we have another one of those? I'm busy because she's busy. I'm busy running my other part of my. Should I
Right.
have another one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably will.
That's it. And the mission of Positively Powered states that we acknowledge the accomplishments of women in a way that empower all people to live their dreams, which is really one of the
Mhm.
things that you want to do, and will change lives, which is the transformational part, and businesses for the better. And so, really,
Yes.
the honorees. You want to name some of who the honorees are, really quick, and some of the summit presenters.
Well, you are a summit presenter.
Yes, I'll have
Yay.
my little 7 to 10 minutes of
Yes,
uh,
indeed.
sharing.
Yeah, our honorees. Let's see. Oh my, I don't want to forget anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a captain of Southwest Airlines. She's a woman pilot. She's been there for 25 years or so, something that, yeah. So I'm excited to have her, Captain Nancy Martin Beliz. Then we have Diana Gregory's Fresh Market. She's been feeding hundreds of thousands of people over her years in business.
Wow.
We have Dr. No, Lois Brown, and she is the executive director of the Center for the Study of Race and Democracy at ASU.
I'm sure
Mhm.
she's been busy over the last couple of years for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, she's been doing some really well. All of them been doing brilliant work.
Right,
We
right.
have Dr. Catherine Nakagama, and
Mm.
she is also with ASU as a professor of Asian Studies, and she's an entrepreneur.
Ah.
Um, see who I one,
I
two,
want
three.
people to go to positivelypowerful.com. They could read all about them. She has a
Thank you. I don't
I
want to
know
miss
she has the
anybody.
pictures there as well as all the information, the details. But one of the main things when you do go to positivelypowerful.com is sign up on the email list so that you can get notified for when the next thing that Dr. Joelle does. If you miss it this
Mhm.
year, and it's a hybrid this year as well, but you can definitely come next year. So make sure that you stay connected with Dr. Joelle. Get the book. The book is on Amazon, so you can kind of know a little bit more about her work and what she's doing. And then also too, Dr. Judy Foster Davis's book. I mean, she's a pioneer in this whole advertising
Yes.
business years ago. I mean, really, when I read your chapter, I was like, oh my God, this is so much. I said, she needs her own book
Thank
about this.
you.
She needs her own
It's
book.
been a joyful journey. Thank
Yeah.
you for directing people to the website because, I'm so in love with this program and the women that contribute their time and allow me to honor them, to inspire others. I don't want to miss anyone's name. So
Right,
go
right.
there,
No,
go to
no.
Positively Powerful and read up on these ladies.
Yeah, you definitely want to go to positivelypowerful.com. That's where they go to really learn all about the work that you're doing, the speaking. And one of the things too that I want to say too, that you're
Mhm.
so out of all the things that you've done, like you said, you ran $1 million agency out of New York City and this and that, but you're still very, very humble, gracious, obviously positive,
Mm,
and people
thank
love being
you.
around you. People love her. It's a light, and people say that's a
Mhm.
light, so Dr. Stacy NC Grant, we always talk about you, how we just love you as well. I mean, it's
Oh,
just a light that you have. And so
thank you.
like, well, how does she get that light? It's in this book. It's in this book. It's like you go through this workbook and have that same type of transformation
Mm,
that really does help you sort things out. Even though what you said, you went through a lot of training yourself, spent thousands and thousands of dollars. You want to give people just like a leg up by getting the book, and that's one of the main things.
absolutely. I
And I love
do.
that. And this is on Amazon Live is Pam Perry's Pick. So this is, a lot of times people will do an Amazon Live and they'll do like
Mhm,
100 books or they'll do, I don't know, all kind of stuff. But I only
mhm,
use like to just pick like one and have people hear from
mm,
the author
mm,
directly, just the one
mhm.
particular book. This is like really, really key. So making sure that they do this. I don't know if Judy Foster is gonna come on or not, but she will see the replay for sure because we've been shouting out her book as well. That has ended as well.
You
And
are so great and gracious. Thank
oh,
you,
thank
Pam.
you. It was you and Barbara Gardner Proctors, and she was from Chicago. I
Mhm.
loved her too. That was
Yeah,
one of the first
Carolyn Jones.
yes,
Yeah.
Carolyn Williams. Yep, Carol H. Williams was one,
Mhm.
as well, and she just kinda, like, brings up people that was like, "I didn't know that," and it's like, "Yeah, we were just doing the work. We were just
That's
doing the
right.
work."
We were
And even
just doing the work.
before the agency, um, you were art director, and then you had your
I
daughter,
was.
and
Mhm.
then that was different to be a woman entrepreneur agency with a daughter, and then sometimes you said you would bring your daughter to
Oh, yeah. We had her giving us feedback on music, and she'd be in the office because Bob was there with us and with me. Absolutely, The Rock, and we would do a lot of great things. And now she's a cinematographer, so she's developed that eye.
creativity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
That
creativity. Yeah.
creativity the
Mhm.
creativity on that, but that's one of the things too, but bringing in the family and letting them see you because
Mhm.
basically you were a role model to her as well. So
That's what she
that's
tells
like
me.
always a success. So being
Yeah.
positive is really, really key. You share it everywhere. I want people to go to positivelypowerful.com. They can find out more about you, request you to speak, do workshops, virtual or in person, because you do both.
Yep.
You do the virtual
Mhm.
things too as well. How many virtual things have you done more virtual? Um,
This year.
yeah, yeah,
Had to.
it's a lot. It is a lot, and people are getting
Mhm.
used to it. So that's why I just really, really think that people need to know about that. Well, I just thank you so much for joining us today for Pam
Oh, a
Picks, and I
pleasure.
look forward to seeing you on this weekend,
Yeah.
doing all of that thing. So I want to make sure that thank you, just to let you know, I really, really appreciate you and being on the cover of Speakers Magazine. I love this. I love this. And it's Arizona in the background. You were like, yeah, that is Arizona in the background. Yes, it is. It is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you so much for the way you support people, Pam. I
Oh,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Oh, good. And one of the things that there's people that are in Arizona that I would like
Mhm.
to connect you with, one being a Van Steel. And there's, obviously there's, Aisha's there as well, Felicia
Mhm.
Davis, so when I kind of feel like I know a few people over in Arizona, maybe there'll be a place where I
Yeah.
live one day, I don't
I
know.
hope so.
Over in
Well,
Phoenix. Yeah, I hope
yeah.
so.
Well, Felicia will be at the event.
Oh, good. I love it. Powerful women tend to hang out. So that's one of
Yes,
the
we
things.
do.
She's definitely one as well. So, well, thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you this coming weekend.
Friday.
Yes,
Mhm.
Friday. All righty. Well, thank you guys, and I will talk
Thanks.
to y'all later. All righty. Bye-bye. So that is Pam Perry's Picks. Make sure that you go to Amazon and make sure that you get the books and leave reviews on the books and that sort of thing. So with that, I'm Pam Perry and I am out. Thank you.